All right, Wizards has laid the ban hammer down on multiple cards, many formats, and they're starting with Underworld Breach. Oh yes, I'm surprised. Aren't you all? No, nobody is surprised. Everyone was seeing this coming. So for anyone not in the know, Underworld Breach, which has, it's got a little bit of a reputation. It's got a little bit of a reputation. It was banned in Explorer, it was banned in Pioneer, banned in Legacy. It was legal in Modern. Well, not anymore. Now it's gone. All right, so this is the long line of formats Underworld Breach is not welcome in. It ended up being part of a very powerful Underworld Breach deck, which, by the way, I mean, I'll fight people on this. This deck did not do anything serious until they unbanned Mox Opal, which they even admitted in their analysis here. They admit in their report, this card was, the deck was fine for the longest time, but then they unbanned Mox Opal, and then everything went to hell. And so that's why I actually figured that this card was a very fair card in Modern for literally 4 years. Anyway, they don't want to ban Mox Opal. That thing costs too much money. If anyone spent, like, I don't know, something like $600 to buy a playset, like, they're not gonna ban that thing all of a sudden. I can't remember what Underworld Breach does. It's banned in so many formats. I don't even remember what that card does. The 2-mana card that lets you play cards from your graveyard, but you have to escape. You have to exile 3 cards from the graveyard in order to play it. Yeah, bye-bye, Breach. Almost makes me think that Yawgmoth's will effects are quite powerful. They are pretty good. But the thing is, like, it was a turn 3, turn 4 kill in Modern. That's nothing crazy. You can interact with it with counter spells, with graveyard hate. There were a lot of... You could destroy the Underworld Breach while they're trying to cast something. It wasn't the most insane thing, but when you have Mox Opal involved, Mox Opal, that's a pretty serious card. Now, all of a sudden, instead of it being a turn 3, turn 4 deck, is now a turn 2 deck. And incredibly consistently turn 3, or turn 3 with a lot of mana backup. So, anyway, they decided Mox Opal is going to be in the format from now on. Underworld Breach is not. So, a lot of people are defending this card. It's like, well, think about Affinity. Affinity. What's wrong? You don't want Affinity to be part of the metagame, Nikachu? You know what? I really don't care about Affinity when Mox Opal has been historically breaking combo decks. You all remember Eggs? Krar Clan Ironworks? Urza Oko? No, we don't remember those things. That's why it got banned in the first place. And it was banned after Modern Horizons 1 came out. But anyway, it's unbanned. It's good. So I think that now the new philosophy surrounding Mox Opal, at least, is they're going to ban anything that combos with it. You play fairly with it? Okay, that's good. You gotta be in the line of Affinity and so on. Yeah, exactly. We're unbanning Opal to ban Breach, and basically every other combo deck that's ever going to come across our way. Rated Lex says, Wizards of the Coast, remember how broken Yawgmoth's Will was? How format-breaking card it was? How fun it was not to play against? So let's make another one. What could go wrong? Yeah, they've got this new mentality of trying to bring back old broken cards. Let's reprint the old broken cards with some sort of downside. Well, obviously not enough of a downside. I mean, it's gone. It's gone almost everywhere. How long is it going to take to get restricted in Vintage? But I don't know if Yawgmoth's Will is a card even in contention of being restricted in Vintage. When is my Mox Opal reprint? Oh, you better... You know what? If this card didn't get touched and barely any mention of it getting banned at all in their announcement, there is no talk about Mox Opal even potentially being on their radar in their analysis, which means they're gonna make some money. Wizards of the Coast, you better believe you can bet easily sometime in 2025 this card's getting reprinted. And it's not until they reprint that card and it goes, it exists for at least a year or two that they'll even think about banning this card. They won't even think about it. No thinking at all. Oh, Matthew with unbanned Deathrite Shaman. Oh my goodness, this was... Let's look at Deathrite Shaman. People majorly speculated on this card. It's gone up to like $16 for some copies. So, and if you want like beautiful foils, they just like skyrocketed. A lot of people were anticipating that there would be a Deathrite Shaman unbanned. I don't know why. This card it's quite broken. Now, I'm not against a Deathrite Shaman unbanned, in fact. Although I do think that if you find the best Deathrite Shaman deck, it is impossible to beat. It's quite sickening. So if Dockside gets banned in EDH, I think this could too. We have Fexith, but come on, Breach is terribly broken cards. So is Mox Opal, but that's a different story. Well, this was my argument against Breach being broken in Modern. You look at the last... Okay, you can say Breach is a broken card, but format matters. Like, the context of a format matters. Take Deathrite Shaman, for example. Completely broke. Like, it's broken in Modern. It's broken in Legacy. No play in Pioneer. Nothing. I mean, in Pioneer, this card is absolute garbage. Just supreme trash. So the context of the format matters. And I'll tell you one thing about Underworld Breach. In Modern, it's sort of slow. Like in Legacy, they've got like so much more speed to use Underworld Breach. Like they can just ramp this thing out. And also there are decks that might want to play it for value. I think the interaction in Pioneer is bad, so it ended up being overpowered there. But Modern was a good spot where the format was slow enough and the interaction was strong enough to keep Underworld Breach in check. But then after you add Mox Opal to the deck, well, now it's too fast for the interaction to be kept checked. Old Boy says, reprinting broken cards in red is fine for now, at least in EDH, until Wizards of the Coast starts trying to fix red like they did with white or green. Oh no. Well, they are fixing red. It's super aggro and it's super annoying. It'll be in this. Yeah, it'll be in the SpongeBob set or something. It'll be an actual sponge or something. Or I don't know. Maybe it'll be a fish. Well, we're not gonna ban. Well, we can't ban Wizards of the Coast. That's for sure. You know, fetch lands to make Deathrite Shaman to be good. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the key. That's the key to Modern and Legacy, which is why it doesn't have that same power in Pioneer. But I would also say Underworld Breach decks did not have the tools to go supremely busted. It was just a fine combo deck. By the way, for the last 4 years, it was fine to crap. It bounced around that range. It was like 1.5% of the metagame in October. So, I mean, if anyone wants to go back in the Wayback Machine and show me where Underworld Breach was oppressively strong before the Mox Opal unban, by all means, do it. But you're not going to find it because it doesn't exist. I was there for the last 4 years. And Spader's like, unbanned fetch lands in Modern. Well, there is a format where you can play fetch lands, you know, Hans Vader. It's called Modern. Trent Sims, the Deathrite Shaman unban is kind of annoying since the green, blue, black Tarkir Commander deck really likes it and now will be very pricey. Yeah, like it's the card has exploded just beyond completely baseless speculation. But I mean, they were pretty aggressive last BNR. I guess they just didn't want to be that aggressive this time around. I said this before and I want to say it again. I think Deathrite Shaman would be this really cool card to unban with the express purpose to reban again. You like, okay, we're unbanning Deathrite Shaman. There's a lot of graveyard decks in the format. This can like help deal with Underworld Breach or whatever. And then you also say, we will reban this card eventually. So don't keep your hopes up, you know, or like, don't get too attached to this thing. Benovsky's like, I don't understand the bannings. Whenever I see a card I don't like, I rip it. Well, Deathrite Shaman with Ketramos would break the format. It's possible. It's possible. Ketramos is making a big name for itself in Modern right now. So if anyone wants to know why Ketramos is so expensive, great card in Commander, actually amazing card in Modern, makes for a huge deck over there. Okay, this is there anything else to say? That was all that there was to say about Modern. We were totally expecting this. Let's move on to a little bit of Legacy. Does anyone play Legacy in the house? Sowing Mick. We can jump between the whole Sowing Miko spawn. Sowing Miko Spawn, a 4-mana 3/3 Eldrazi Fungus. By the way, did anyone know this card was broken? Anybody? Anyone guess that? Anybody? Anyway, it was broken. I played a little Legacy, and I can't beat Eldrazi. And I'm like, well, I guess that's just a me thing. No, I was completely wrong. That was an everybody thing. Everyone couldn't beat Eldrazi. One of the big problems was sowing Miko Spawn. It's a 3/3 with the Void, kicker of 2. Now, whenever you cast the spell, you can search your library for a land card. And that's the problem, because it can be any land. Anything. And you might think, well, what kind of lands can you go get in Legacy? Well, you can get, you get Wasteland. That's not bad, especially in combination with this thing's other kicker cost. When you cast this card, if it was kicked, exile target land, and it comes into play untapped. Because you search your library for a land card, just put it onto the battlefield. So you cast this with kicker, you get your Wasteland, you blew up someone's land, they're now 2 lands down, and you could get Caracas. That was a great card. If you're up against legendary decks, you could get you could get a soul land if you really want to. Eldrazi Temple, just for more ramp. It's disgusting. Not to mention this deck plays with a lot of those soul lands, Eldrazi Temple and City of Traders, or maybe Ancient Tomb. I think some City of Traders maybe won. It was insane. It was hard to beat. Even if you try to play your own Wasteland against this deck, it's like completely pointless. It felt like I was putting myself down a card, not my opponent. When the ban list commander? I actually don't know. Great question. I have no idea. It doesn't run on the same line as the the competitive Wizards R&D ban list. Sorry, banned and restricted ban list. I think Jess is posting word salad. Oh yeah, Jess is our, what's it called? Our wint of the show. Okay, Old Boy says, in the BNR announcement article, they are reasoning about how Miko Spawn would make playing basics less fun. They are talking about fun in Legacy. Did EDH players infiltrate the format? No, but like, you know, there's a lot of Legacy players. Tell you what, competitive players, they want interaction. They want to feel like their moves matter. When you're up against this Eldrazi deck, it's disgusting. It can be like, turn 1 Ancient Tomb into what is it? Not Mox Diamond. Is it Mox Diamond, play like an Eldrazi. Turn 2, Sowing Miko Spawn, get a land, play something else. And you're like so far ahead of me. I can't even do anything, especially if I lost the die roll. You like play Wasteland to destroy their soul land. They just play another soul land. They don't even care. So this card, like, and surprisingly, you listen to the Legacy players, they hate this card. It's just terrible. It's way too good a ramp. It's way too good of a tutor. It looks like it costs 6 mana. It's basically 2 to 3 mana for that format. It doesn't even matter. It's a little too strong. So wait, for competitive players, we have fun when we can like answer people's problems reliably. But there is no good way to answer this thing. On top of that, it's a cast trigger. You cast the card, and you go get a land put onto the battlefield. If you have Force of Will, it doesn't do anything. You can kill the Sowing Miko Spawn, but they still get the land anyway. Top of that, the second part's a cast trigger too. You cannot counter these things. The only answer is like consigned to memory. Good luck having enough mana in time and up all the time to hit like the spell and also all the triggers. It's awful. Radalex says, Legacy, fun format to play if you can afford it. Oh, also, hey, I highly recommend either finding a proxy group or you can play online. Playing online works totally fun. Magic Online. You can rent the cards with Mana Traders. Very quick shout out to Mana Traders. Talk more about that during the sponsor segment. So you can play all the formats. Maybe I'm going to be playing a little bit more Legacy because I really don't feel like playing Standard. This is the new. You know what? I never heard that said before. But you know what, Quadizzle? I think you're right. I think this is the new Primeval Titan. And it's funny. It's not as powerful in Modern because we don't have Wasteland. We don't have Wasteland. We don't have Caracas. We don't have Gaia's Cradle. Like they play Gaia's Cradle. They get a bunch of little stupid Eldrazi Scions on the battlefield, go get Gaia's Cradle, and then they have like 1 million mana to play another big stupid thing. It's crazy. When's the AI stuff? Wednesdays. It's going to be Wednesdays now, starting this Wednesday, every second Wednesday. That and Miko Spawn double wastelands you. Absolutely. It's an absolute beating. Hey, it's playing Legacy or eating. I can't do both. You know what? You just look at it, you're going on a diet, that's all. You're just going on a diet. Now, this was not the only card banned in Legacy. We also have, what is it, the Troll. Troll of Kazakh Dune. Anyone saw that on their bingo card? Does that look confusing to anybody? 6 mana, 6/5 Troll. It can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures, and has swamp cycling for 1. I think this would, if you're not a Legacy player, that also might confuse you. But you'd have to be playing the format to know how frustrating it is to play against this card. There are multiple layers to this onion to peel off. Now, the first one is that it was one of the prime cards to reanimate in the reanimate deck. Reanimate. So they used a combination of reanimate. I don't remember the 2-mana reanimate aura enchantment, but to go get a turn 2 Troll of Kazakh Dune. So you just go turn 1, land, swamp cycle, which actually was OP, by the way. Because if you go get a swamp, you can't get hit by wasteland. All this talk that we had about wasteland, well, you know, good luck wastelanding a swamp. It's not going to happen. Is this still pauper legal? Yes, still pauper legal. It's still pauper legal. Troll is just uncountable free dude in yard. It danger. That's right. See, normally in a reanimate deck, you gotta go like turn 1 Entomb, right? First you go turn 1. First you gotta play Entomb. And it has to resolve. You may not resolve in Legacy. They got Force of Will. They got Days. But anyway, it's very hard to get around just playing Swamp Cycling at instant speed, by the way. You just go land pass. Oh, you're done? Okay, Swamp Cycle at the end of your turn. And it's got Super Menace. So when it comes into play, you gotta remember, like, almost nothing kills this thing. Lightning Bolt? No. Fatal Push? No. 6 mana. It's got 5 toughness for the Lightning Bolt. What else? What else? You're not blocking this thing, all right? You're not going to have 3 or more creatures on the battlefield, unless, I guess, you're the Sowing Miko Spawn deck. But outside of that, it's unblockable. So it might as well be True Name Nemesis. You can target this thing, but you can't reliably kill it, and also you can't block it. And it's a giant blocker in its own right. Hey, another Street Wraith is always great. Exactly. Yeah, Animate Dead was the other card, which basically between Reanimate and Animate Dead always gave you like many ways of a turn 2 Troll. So, and normally the combo decks, they're fine if they're like a little all in a little bit. That's good. Kill them with Graveyard Hate. But the thing is, these Reanimator decks were fair. They were let's go look at one of them. They were super, super fair decks. They had a fair game and an unfair game. So they played, they could play Brazen Borrower. They played their Troll. They played Atraxa, which is a little bit more on their hardcore plan. But they could play Murktide. Let's see if there was a more, how about Dimir Tempo? This was, or is this strictly just Dimir Tempo? Fatal Push. Oh yeah, there's actually a Dimir Tempo deck. I don't think this is a very... there were other lists. The most popular list up here is not more in the fair range. It's a little bit more in the all-in range. But there are other deck lists with, like, you know, what's it called? More copies of Bowmasters. Maybe Bowmasters is not exactly perfect in every format. Avoids Dismember. Actually, it doesn't avoid Dismember. It dies to Dismember. Dismember just gives it -5/-5. Yes, the only thing is Swords to Plowshares is probably the only really reliable way to beat this thing. Which you're still going to give him like 6 life, 5 to 6 life at the end of it. That's right. Bye-bye, Breach. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. William says, can't believe no standard ban. What do we want banned in standard, William? What do we want banned in standard? Yeah, we can talk about that. All right, so Troll of Kazakh Doom, you're done. And by the way, Legacy community was asking for this ban for like I think at least a year. They're like Legacy needs a lot of stuff banned. Well, now they're banning stuff in Legacy. I hope the Legacy players are happy. All right. I was hoping for Monstrous Rage to be banned in Standard. In fact, I hate this card in Pioneer. Like, I can't stand this thing. Something that really resonated with me, and I highly recommend people look it up, is Brian Kibler, Magic the Gathering Hall of Famer, and also game designer, said this card is stupid. This card is stupid because you can't block. Blocking is banned in Magic the Gathering. You're not allowed to block. You can't block in Pioneer. You're not allowed to block in Standard. And so you look at these crazy aggro decks. They literally are just a bunch of creatures that you can't do squat about unless you have removal spells. It's like removal spell or bust in this game now. Yeah, I would have loved to see a Monstrous Rage banned personally. Like, all my ideas for standard decks are just dead. I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to try to brew. I'm just going to try to rely on, like, the current decks that exist, because everything else is a waste of my time. Through all the skills that I have in Magic the Gathering, blocking is one of the most important ones to help save me versus red aggro decks, and Monstrous Rage is... I mean, it completely defeats the purpose. So it's like Monstrous Rage versus Up the Beanstalk. Now, I understand why they didn't take action. Like, I get it. If you don't like the standard format, I totally hear you. I look at this. 12.7. Like, you have to add up all these red decks. They're all the same thing. 12.7%, 6.9, 6.2. What is that up to? Like 20, 24-ish%? Like, that's pretty damn high. But that's not unusual for standard, that it's like a 3 to 4 deck format. And you've got like a lot of reasonable other stuff here at the bottom here. Dimir midrange, Golgari midrange, Azorius control. You got Jeskai Oculus, Esper Omniscience, Dimir self-bounce. Although I would say, you could say a lot of these decks bleed into each other. I've seen worse standard environments. This is not the worst I've ever seen. But I'm not thrilled about playing against a lot of mono red aggro, because it's just, hey, you got removal? Oh, no, you don't? Well, I'm sorry. You're probably going to lose. You're probably going to have a bad time. And Monstrous Rage is definitely a part of that problem. The card got banned in the arena format. I don't think it... oh, yeah, it did. It got banned in Alchemy. They didn't fix it. Shama says, Legacy is still bad because Kozilek's command? And oops, also... Oh, yeah, Kozilek's command. Kozilek. I keep getting Kozilek mixed up with the other Kolaghan's command. And oops, all spells is terrifying me. Yeah, I lose immediately on turn 1 versus oops, but you know what? Actually, I don't know why I do, because I'm a heavy counterspell deck. I shouldn't lose so easily. The Overlords are also just stupid. But that's mostly a Beanstalk problem. Yeah, that's mostly a Beanstalk problem. Okay, so some people, you want Beanstalk banned. A card already banned in how many formats? It's banned in Modern so far. And I guess that's just the deal. Like, it's the balance of trying to aggro out someone before they can stabilize and accrue so much value to overwhelm the aggro player versus just playing, trying to survive the early turns and then overwhelming somebody. So that's like the balance between these two things. I guess they just really want, they made the card. They want people to play it to the best of their ability. I have a feeling Wizards are building... They like the decks being built around this thing. Like, that's maybe what it was for. Okay, then we have also... Pabno says, Manifold Mouse is good, but isn't run in every one of these decks, though. I don't think it would do that much to ban it. Manifold Mouse. Personally, I would have preferred to see both Manifold Mouse and... what's it called? Monstrous Rage to be banned. Because they still have here's the thing, mono red is overwhelmingly popular in standard. Now, I don't play a lot of standard, but I'm going to be forced to. A lot of events in the future are just forcing me to play standard, so I have to pick up some sort of deck. And I I shouldn't say I hate mono red aggro decks. I would rather not play them though. I feel like whenever I play standard, I have to play a mono red aggro deck because it's like one of the most popular decks and it's like really popular. I just hate the stupid gameplay. It's just not for me. If you want to go all in, good, go all in. It's and it's way less all in than it used to be. Like, you can accrue a lot of value with these stupid mice, you know? Unlock says, I don't think Beanstalk needs to be banned. It's good, but I don't think it's quite as format destroying as Rage. It promotes interaction. It certainly does that. Popper has no Splinter Twin anymore. Did it have one before? We'll talk about Popper eventually, before the show is over. Pedgeman says, to be honest, the fact that Rage is a pump spell plus leaves an aura that gives trample behind is what makes the card really strong. Well, the main thing that makes Monstrous Rage strong is the trample. So it's almost like a removal spell because whatever you block with is going to die. It's certainly going to bite the dust. And you're going to still deal damage. So it's easily, I don't know how to explain that. It's like I guess it's a 2-for-1. The Monstrous Rage basically removes the thing that is in front of you blocking, plus you deal damage. So it's like a burn spell all in one. Old boy says, serves me right. I went full scalper on Beans because it seems too good to be true. Turns out it absolutely was. In Arena Best of 1, you either die on turn 3 to a mono red or you run 20 removal spells and die to an Omni deck or something. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is a weird balance to have here. Magic's turning into a format like where the aggro decks are supremely powerful and you absolutely need... If you're not playing removal spells, you're a chump. Like, me here trying to be a mono blue player. Basically I can't be a mono blue player. I don't got the tools for this. I look really stupid. Web of Music. I'm so happy they left Mox alone. Wizards finally got a ban right. Oh yeah, they were not... I mean, I highly doubted that they were going to ban Mox Opal. Just not going to happen. Especially after they just unbanned it. I would have bet that we're going to see Mox Opal in Modern for at least a year or more. At least. It's a bit of Rancor. I have a rage over this card. Oh yeah, I hate this card in all formats. And a lot of people are making the comparison that, like, this deck almost entirely exists in Pioneer. And it's legal in Standard. You have a Pioneer power level deck in Standard. Almost card for card. It's wild. And they're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. It's fine. And it's just weird. Some people said, well, they didn't want to ban anything because it's not the RCQ format. That's a good time to ban stuff. Like, people, they don't care about Standard so much anymore. So if they put down their deck, no big deal. And the thing is, I think a lot of people also get this mentality, like, if you ban a card that you're banning the deck. You're not banning the deck. You're just weakening the power level of it. And mind you, I mean, you will, like, put a hammer to the deck if you take away its ability to trample over, both with Monstrous Rage and with Manifold Mouse. But you just got to do it the old-fashioned way. You just got to do it with speed and burn spells. And it's still okay. Monstrous Rage is me on Mondays. So you're saying you're monstrously raging right now, are you, Benovsky? Mid-range is kind of a joke in Standard? How is it a joke? I mean, Beans is a mid-range deck, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know what your definition of mid-range is. I would say Beans is very, very mid-rangey. Pam says, yeah, without the white in my Merfolk deck for removal, I don't think I would have a chance of dealing with aggro. I guess that's just what I got to do. Any commander unbans? Nope. Nothing. Actually, the bans, the tournament bans are actually on a different schedule from the commander bans, as far as I know. Okay, we're going to talk about more of the BNR announcement, but I do have to thank my sponsors. Did your cards get banned? Maybe you need a new deck, or maybe new cards to replace it in your deck. Did anything get unbanned? Well, in that case, I can tell you where you can buy them from. FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite place to buy my Magic the Gathering cards. Not to mention, Tarkir Dragonstorm is coming out around the corner. Catch those cards, as they've been spoiled, and pre-order them at Fusion Gaming. Not to mention, we've got the Fusion Open happening April 12th to 13th. Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Commander, Modern, Standard. I will be there. Probably playing Modern and Standard. Don't know what I'm playing in Standard yet. I'm going to wait and find out. And don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu to get 5% off all your purchases. And of course, we gotta thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. The main reason you rent cards on Magic Online. It's a ban list saver. You do not care about what deck you play, whether it's going to get banned or not, because no matter what gets banned, it's not your cards, it's Mana Traders cards. So you just send those cards back and rent a new one. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below. Oops. Or use coupon code Nikachu _ZUL for 40% cash back on your 3rd month subscription. And now back to the BNR discussion. We can get back to that Manifold Mouse. All right, what are you all you fine fellows saying? Beans is kind of ramp, kind of control. How is it ramp? Maybe I don't know all the Beans decks. Beans is a go over the top ramp deck. Okay, I'm just gonna I'll just trust your judgment. But like, mid range can be ramp. Okay, Christopher V says, show idea. Right before each standard rotation, do a standard set analysis stream, but extended instead of the scope that standard was. A set rotation for each standard, do a set analysis. Interesting. I'll think about it. I have no idea what you have in mind there, though. Toilet Doc says, I think the only thing that really zybers about Tarkir Dragonstorm is the Dragon's Eye basic the basic eye land artwork. Is the ban immediately effect on? Yeah, absolutely. They work together. So I mean, this stuff is banned. Manifold Mouse, however, not banned. Could have been banned, and it looks like they just don't care. No, they're like, which is fine. Like, you know, I'm not gonna say like standard is unbalanced. I just don't. I hate when red aggro has no answer to it. Like I like when these aggro decks are the type of deck where if you have enough sideboard cards, you will obliterate it out of existence. And I just don't think we're in that world. Like, if you want to obliterate it out of the existence, then you're just going to lose to control and other combo decks and crap like that. So I'm not a fan of these types of archetypes of having too much power and control and presence in the metagame. Those Beans are going to get cooked next. I think Beans is still going to be around for quite a while. We haven't done the Pauper one yet. All right, now the Pauper one, I don't completely understand because I'm not up to date. Okay, Basking Brood Scale. They're like, no combo decks are allowed. Basking Brood Scale. I forget what card that they had in this deck to combo with it. So 2 mana 2/2, Devoid. Whenever one or more +1/+1 counters are put on Basking Brood Scale, you may create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token with sacrifice this creature, add a colorless mana. Now, this is actually a modern power level combo card. Not a big deck right now, but has had some presence, at least before they started unbanning cards like crazy. So if we go to Pauper, I do know that multiple decks like to play this card. So here we go. We've got a Pauper deck here. Jund Brood Scale combo. And I imagine once the combo's online, it's all over. So they use... Okay, they have Writhing... Can I zoom in here? 1, 2, 3... Writhing Chrysalis. This is a 4-mana 2/3. Whenever you sacrifice another Eldrazi, put a +1/+1 counter on Writhing Chrysalis. Does that work? No, but the counters have to go on the Brood Scale. What is... Oh, Nightblade. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. That's very important. What's the second card that combos with the Brood Scale? Because you need something... The counter has to get put on the Brood Scale. You may create a 0/1. Mostly Sadistic Glee. I don't even see that here. Oh, wow, this deck played Ichor Wellspring too. Oh my god, this deck just got banned out of existence. Because of the Deadly Dispute also got banned. Man, whoever is playing the Jund Brood Scale combo deck, it's a very sad day for you. I'm sorry. It's a very sad day. You lost your Basking Brood Scale. You lost your Deadly Dispute. It's probably all the important stuff. The enchantment. Oh, it's in the enchantment section? But I don't oh, there's sadistically. Yeah, that's the card. Okay, a black enchantment. Whenever any creature is put into a graveyard from play, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, and then once you start the chain, you can make your Basking Brood scale infinitely big. And of course, with Nadir's Nightblade, you will kill somebody. Instant death. Yeah, I couldn't see the enchantments. It was hidden by all these stupid ads. Yeah, here, Google. I don't need you right now. Taking up valuable real estate. No combo allowed in Pauper. Also unbans High Tide. Well, I think what matters is like how many people can combo with this card. So, for example, the second card that got banned was Deadly Dispute. And I think it was banned to make like a little bit more variety in the format. Like, this looks terrible. Like, if I was a Pauper player, I'd be pretty pissed. There's a lot of decks that were playing. There was like a ton of decks playing with Deadly Dispute. You've got this, you know, the Jund Broodskill combo deck, Grixis Affinity, Jund Wildfire, Tron. There's a lot of decks playing with this card combination for synergy. So that's too many decks. That's like way too many decks. So they decide, well, we're done with this card. Deadly Dispute, you're getting axed. It's over for you. You're cornered, Deadly Dispute, and there's no way you're gonna dispute your way out of this one. When you die, it's all gonna be over. Yeah, it was basically in every black. I mean, it's really good synergy. It has additional cost to cast the spell, sack an artifact or a creature. You draw 2 cards. And by the way, a lot of the stuff that you're sacrificing, you're getting value out of it anyway, or you got value out of it in the first place. So you draw 2 cards and you create a treasure token. So it's like you're not down on mana, and you're definitely not down on cards anyway. AI has moved to Wednesdays. I'm sorry. Yeah, I might not have communicated that properly. It's on Wednesdays now, every second Wednesday. High Tide, I don't think is very good. I have no idea what they're going to do with that in Pauper. I think High Tide was banned at a time when you could untap lands and stuff, and now I have no idea what people will do, or if this is even worth trying. It's a blue instant. Until end of turn, whenever a player taps an island for mana, that player adds an additional blue. Now, this does affect your opponent, though. So if I play a blue deck, ha! Fool! You've fallen right into my trap. I get to tap my lands also for double blue. What else did they do here? They banned Kuldotha Rebirth. Kuldotha Rebirth. Were the red aggro decks that powerful? Bob talks birds. No card yet. Kuldotha Rebirth. They banned this card? So it's a red sorcery. As additional cost to cast Kuldotha Rebirth, sack an artifact. So you could sack like a blood token or Ichor Wellspring, for example. I'm taking a guess. I can't remember what they sacrificed. Put 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. It's a good aggro card. Like, it's a good aggro card. I didn't know it was like ban worthy though. What do you guys have to say? There's a lot of cards that do what Dispute does. It is just the best version. Gotcha. High Tide is in my Drazi deck. Laquatus, a mill engine. Bushwhacker made it too good, but that was always around. Like, that was a combo that existed for like 8 years. Like, why ban this now? Like, like that combo was around for forever. Or did they downgrade Bushwhacker to common at some point that I missed? Goblin Bushwhacker. Goblin Bush. Good, yeah, Goblin Bushwhacker. So, but it was always a common. So it didn't get reprinted as a common. I have no idea why this all of a sudden has to get banned, unless it's Affinity's fault again. It's always Affinity's fault. Affinity, you watch yourself around here. You just watch yourself. This ain't standard best of 1. Red is actually ban worthy. Web Music, when should you be testing the new modern format, Nikachu? Probably immediately. Thanks for asking. Although, to be honest, I might have to spend a lot more time on standard, only because like I don't have any experience in standard. There's like a lot of tournaments in the future where I may need to play Standard. I don't know, but red decks was always strong. Look, I have played red decks for like decades. And let me tell you, red decks are strong until you face some like really harsh sideboard card like Core Firewalker, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, you know what? Red decks suck. So there's red decks, at least historically when I've played them, there was like some key sideboard card that annihilated them, which was fair because when you're playing red, you usually win game 1, and then you got to struggle versus the sideboard cards game 2 and 3. And now they're just like they don't do that anymore. Playing these oppressive sideboard cards that hose decks, no, we don't do that anymore in Magic apparently. This is more about the artifact decks than the red aggro decks. Okay, I can believe that. I'm not in tune. Well, they unbanned something else, right? Prophetic Prism. I don't play a lot of Pauper, but when I did, I don't remember this card existing. I think it got banned because it was too free? Is that what it was? 2-mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, pay 1, tap, add 1 mana of any color. I can't remember why this was banned. But they're bringing it. They're bringing it back. Congratulations, Prophetic Prism. You get a new. You get a second life. Maybe Tron can take advantage. Yeah, I remember it was a big beating to the Tron decks at the time. Shamus says, if I'm playing Standard Event, I'm playing Monstrous Rage plus Manifold Mouse. But I don't want to play Monstrous Rage and Manifold Mouse. I want to play Merfolk. We're in a rare moment in history or time that I can play Merfolk in Standard. They got a lot of great Merfolk cards. Shamus says it lets Tron play every color. Good. Let them, I guess. So what you're telling me is this is the Mox Opal of Pauper. It's the Mox Opal for Pauper. L. Winter says, blows my mind that the Tron lands are common. Yeah, blows my mind as well. But good luck assembling Tron. That's the deal. But here's the good news, L. Winter. Like, Tron has, like... They have, like, no good win condition in Pauper. They just got a lot of really mopey crap. It's like, oh, you got all this mana. You have nothing to do with it. Cabri, Teamer aggro Merfolk with Monstrous Rage. You might be onto something, Cabri. You might be onto something. Thanks, Jess, looking out for me. My #1 fan here, Jess. Yeah, so Prophetic Prism. Okay, what else can we say about that's all the bans. So let's talk about what they didn't ban and what they didn't unban. If there is anything else that we talked about the Deathrite Shaman unban did not happen. Breach is a balanced card until Affinity. Huh? Or are you talking about Mox Opal? Little Deadfly says, that's why I live vicariously through Nikachu, because I can't afford to play Magic. I wonder how many people watch me, because they don't play Magic at all, because they just can't afford it. By the way, MTG Arena, you can play for free. You pay with your time. You gotta grind. You gotta grind the free cards every single day. GTA not unbanned is crazy. So as a person that plays with fleshy little creatures that would die to this thing, I think this card is complete garbage in Modern. I think it's terrible. I think if you unban this in Modern, it would see very close to no play, and I'm not lying, for multiple reasons. So that's to give anyone a heads up, to anyone who says, oh, well, it's oppressive in Legacy. Well, no, it's not. No one plays this in Legacy. This is already a crap card by Legacy standards. What ends up happening is you play this thing for 2 mana, you try to equip it to a creature for 2 mana. That's a lot of mana, by the way. Then your creature dies to removal spell, and then you're never coming back from that massive tempo back-breaking tempo loss. Spending 4 mana to get absolutely no value, you just can't do that in Modern anymore. Not to mention there's like an infinite amount of removal for artifacts these days. And the creatures are pretty big and chunky anyway. So I actually think they could very reliably unban this card in Modern, and it would do nothing. But here's the thing with the modern ban philosophy, ban and unban philosophy. They're like, we don't want to unban cards that could hurt somebody. Like, it's got to do something good for the format, which I find like a really weird mentality. Imagine if Blood Moon was banned. Imagine if Blood Moon was banned in Modern, and then would it ever get unbanned? Probably not. Because people would say, like, well, it just hoses your people's mana bases. So if it's like oppressive and legal, it's fine. But if it's like, you know, if it has no good reason to exist outside the ban list, it just stays banned for forever. Yeah, one toughness isn't viable as it is. Like, you know, well, actually, it sort of is. You know, Fury got banned, then Bowmasters and Ren and 6 became somewhat worthless. Not worthless, but they went super down in value in Modern. Let's get Bowmasters on here. To the point where there's like no one toughness creatures to kill. Like they were prevalent enough. There's no one toughness creatures to kill. So then they became like less valuable. They went down the metagame, and now some one toughness creatures exist. Not many, but some. Aiden says, I play a burn/swarm goblin commander of pure red. That's right. Mono red. Monocolor for the win. Unbanned Blazing Shoal? Well, that's not happening. Come on, that's crazy. See, this is a card, you know what? I would agree with you. You could unban this thing, but why? This is like just asking for turn 2 kills. I have no idea how fun that would be. I think the idea is that banned aid has already been ripped off if it is already banned, so there's little value unbanning a card that will ever be bad or dangerous. I guess that's the idea. Like, it has to do some good to unban a card. I ban Biorhythm. I own 6 and would like to sell. Oh, unban Biorhythm. Are you speculating, Toads, are you? Unban Invigorate and Pauper? Infect isn't a serious thing, is it? Benjamin says, the thing I don't need to keep the creatures out forever can just until I can do my stuff with Vidalian Hexcatcher probably still hoses me. That card is great for Merfolk, but Merfolk's doesn't seem. Correct. Wizards of the Coast should unban Library of Alexandria and Legacy. So I think this card is supremely overrated. So, like, I think this card is grossly overrated, but the world doesn't believe me. So it looks like this card is just never going to get unbanned in Legacy. Well, there were some other contentious cards potentially to get unbanned. I can't remember. Some people wanted Mana Drain unbanned in Legacy. Now, to be fair, actual Counterspell is like garbage. So Counterspell plus, you know, extra mana, maybe that most definitely might make it worth it, but I'm not 100% sure. It's so vulnerable to getting dazed or well, I guess Force of Willingness is not bad value for the person playing Mana Drain, because you'd force somebody to 2-for-1 themselves. I don't imagine them doing that if only because it would just make the format more expensive. Oh, you mean Library of Alexandria? Well, this format is already stupidly expensive. Does it matter at this point? Like, I think we're now living a world where you just proxy. Like, if you play the Eternal formats, I think it's proxy or bust. No one's spending like $3,000 on a deck. You want to know what the cost of Legacy decks are these days? Like, it's insane. It's completely insane. Okay, Dimir Reanimator, $4,000. This is US dollars, by the way. Dimir Tempo, $4,000. Eldrazi, oh, it's like a budget deck at $2,500. Painter, $2,500. Red Stompy, $3,000. Oops, all spells. Oh, $1,000 for the price of a standard, like some very expensive standard sets. You can play Legacy. Temur Delver, $4,500. Omnitel, almost $3,000. Sneak and Show, $4,000. Cephalid Breakfast, $3,500. You know, You unban. Where's Lands? Is Lands here? Is Lands not a big deck right now? So my point is, you unban Library of Alexandria. Yeah, like people aren't. I don't know how many they would play. Maybe more than one. I guess it would shoot the price of cards up by a lot. Yeah, a lot of people. I get okay. It might peeve off the people already playing, because I imagine that there are some players who invested into Legacy like a super long time ago. They still have the deck. They're fine. But then you unban Library of Alexandria, and they're just like, no, God, please, no. Like, imagine every deck needs to play 4 copies of this. Let's say that's in theory what needs to happen. Then I mean the price of it will balloon easily to, like, I don't know, maybe like 10 grand or something. Right now, this card is like $1,300 and it's banned everywhere. All of a sudden you make it like an actual legal tournament legal card, and probably each copy will go like to like 10 grand each. You're overthinking library wouldn't see play. Which library are we talking about? This one? Like it would see play. I think it's a bit overrated, but I think it would see play. Has anyone ever actually played Vintage and Paper? Nope. Nope. I would like to. And there's some big tournaments they let you, if you they have an award for someone who performs the best without playing with power. I think that's really cool. I think that's neat. So I would like to play a vintage tournament. Problem is I just don't play enough vintage to care. In theory, this card is better the more copies you run, since you can chain them. Well, here's the deal, Trent, with that mentality. If you're chaining these cards together, it doesn't sound like you're playing spells or doing anything, which means you can get overrun by somebody else. Like that's the downside, I think, to Library of Alexandria. If you like draw a card, you're on the draw, you draw a card for the turn, you play Library of Alexandria, you have 7 cards, and you tap it to draw a card, you're not doing anything. Maybe that play is better than going turn 1 Ponder or Brainstorm, but you're still not interacting with the board. Oh, Merfolk do with these bans? Terrible. Underworld Breach was a great matchup in Modern, so we lost a great matchup. Standard is awful. Pioneer got no bans. That's another. We didn't talk about Pioneer. Oops. I want to go. Let's go to Pioneer. Damn it. I'm lost. They didn't do anything. They lost their damn minds. There's a lot of people that think, well, they should have done something. Why the hell did they do nothing? We have Mono Red. Okay, so first off, Rakdos midrange. This is a non-rotating format, by the way. This is not standard, where like you can have a few decks that are like 30% or something. There is this expectation of diversity in a format like this. Rakdos midrange, 22%. Bad. Mono Red aggro, 16.4% plus 11.7% plus any more other aggro decks that belong. Rakdos prowess, that's basically the same thing, 1.6%. You add all that together, that's basically 30%. They did nothing. They're like, yeah, that's fine. I have no problem with the numbers anywhere else. I think if a deck has a share of less than 10%, it's okay. We can live with that. If it's over 10%, I mean, we got to start staring at it. Ban something, damn it. I think they have to take action. They need to take swift action. No, they just don't care. It just doesn't matter. Or we need to take maybe the Flesh and Blood ban list, or the ban cadence, where like if a deck is performing too well, then you start banning cards from it. I don't know how it works. I don't know how the Flesh and Blood ban system works. I just know if a deck is performing too well, it gets axed. It gets axed until it's not performing so well. Eggy Potts is like, do or do not. I choose do nothing. Cormac says, hey, Mono Blue Mill sees competitive play. That's not on the list. Oh, you mean on the list here? Well, there's more archetypes down here. Does Mono Blue see playing Pioneer? Oh, there. Is this it? Mono Blue Rona? Well, anyway, it's not ban worthy. That's for sure. That's for sure, Z's. Treasure Cruise has to go. Well, not yet. It only sees playing one deck, and that's Is It Phoenix, and that is honestly at 7.6%. I think that's the least of our worries. I definitely see Treasure Cruise getting banned one day, but we're pretty far from that reality at the moment. If I can't use power, but I can play Bazaar, I can still do well, I think. Oh, you mean in Vintage? Pabno talking to Pedgeman at the moment. Pedgeman says, "Gotta pay people to play your deck and play it bad so it doesn't get banned. Big brain move." It's a great idea. Yeah, be a content creator, play the deck really bad, discourage people from playing the broken deck, and then everything's gonna be fine. Aiden says, "Nikachu, have you come up with your own MTG set and story?" No, I've never done that. My story is playing Magic the Gathering's regular sets and stories. Okay, question for anyone that plays Mono Red, even on the replay. If you banned Manifold Mouse and you banned Monstrous Rage, does the deck still stand on its own 2 feet? Like, are there enough replacement cards? I mean, especially since you can still splash another color. Like, why did they... What's wrong with banning these cards? It's not like it kills the deck. At least I don't think it kills the deck. Maybe it starts struggling versus Beans. Beansies. Corbinek says, yes, there's a bunch of decent replacements. Aiden says, yeah, absolutely. Simic Merfolk doesn't seem that bad in Pioneer. Well, with all the red aggro, it's pretty terrible. I was just thinking today about Simic. Simic sucks most of the time because it doesn't have spot removal. And Magic the Gathering is moving in a world into a direction where you constantly need spot removal. You don't have, you don't have spot removal? Well, then you get to just die to this red aggro deck. Or this or that deck. Here's a powerful creature. Shield Dread. Can't kill it? Okay, then you lose. I got a Manifold Mouse. Can you deal with that? No, you lose. I play another mouse. Deal with that? No. Okay, well then you lose again. So you live and die based on the amount of removal you can play, or your access to it. Trent Sims, like the Incredibles at the end, where they're trying to make sure Dash only wins his races by a little bit. They got to make it close. They have to make it look a lot close. It's not looking close at all. Pabno, I used to play Boros Mice and Alchemy. I think there is a 2/2 gain trample until end of turn card that could replace and do okay. Just not as persistent. Well, it's probably not a 1 mana card, and that is the big difference. I mean, the fact that this is 1 mana and pumps up the creature and gives trample is just what makes it too much. It's too hard to interact with, and the cost to them playing this card is too low. Like, if this was 3 mana, I'd probably not see any play. Because, like, if you try to play this for 3 mana and you get blown out by a removal spell, you're, like, really screwed. Or you have no you can't play the... You can't attack, buff up your creature, and then also play creatures afterwards at the same time. Yeah, that's the argument that it'd still be strong. Monstrous Rage doesn't affect matchup versus Beans compared to any +3 card, but it makes the deck much better against decks that could chump block. There's chump blocking in Beans, right? There's a little bit of chump blocking. This was the Mistmore's card comes out with a bunch of insect creatures. It's a 1 mana card. Yes, the one mana is good. That's what makes it fantastic. Beans and Rage should have been banned. What is everyone's hate on this card? Just lay it out on me. This is your time to flesh out your frustrations. It's a 2-mana enchantment when it enters the battlefield. So turn 2, they do nothing. They do draw a card though, which is very, very frustrating. I guess the one big deal with this card is it's enabling It's enabling too many cards that technically don't cost like 4 or more mana, right? It's basically triggering off of a bunch of cards that people are spending only 2 mana on. What's it called? This town ain't big enough, for example. Pabno says, I don't think beans should be banned, but the fact it replaces itself is the problem. Which is why it's banned in Modern. Interestingly enough, still not banned in Legacy. It's fine in Legacy. It's like the inverse of Waste Not. Yuza says, you have infinite draw from your discounted spells, Nikachu. If you have 2 in the top 15 of your deck, you win. If you deal with it, you're down a card. If you don't deal with it, you eventually lose to card advantage. I think the issue people have with beans is that even if you remove on the spot, you're down 1 card, and if you don't remove it on the spot, it wins the game. Well, it can't always win the game. Or maybe. It's a top deck right now. I would say it's the second best deck in the format. The beans decks. Maybe there's more beans decks than I think there is. What else? Okay, Zur is a beans deck. Is there any other beans decks? This is just a pixie deck, right? Yeah, there's no beans in here. No beans to make me fart in that deck. Oh, Golgari midrange. No beans. So beans doesn't seem like it has like an overwhelming presence. Oh, there's domain down here. Sorry, that's a bean deck. Okay, so there's a little bit. It's more than I think. Pixie seems to have more power than anything else. I mean, it doesn't always run away with the game. That's why I played a deck that was made to run over beans for the qualifier event. Only be matched with 0 beans at all that day over 9 games. Everyone had the same idea as Upedge Man. They were going to run over beans. Suppose we aren't discussing new pauper bans and unbans. We did already. We've already gone that far. Mr. Thule, for standard, it's too much value. Difficult to win big tournaments with it. Difficult to win? Oh, it's difficult to win if you're not playing it. If you're playing a deck that doesn't play it. It's a good card. Not gonna lie, it's a good card. All right, that's it. That's it for today. Thanks for letting me know. How much do you love these BNR announcement today? You let me know in the description below. I sort of hate it. I'm not gonna say they were bad, but like they didn't help me. They didn't help me at all. I'm looking forward to the next BNR announcement in another 3 months where we can do this all over again. As usual, if you want to be part of this show, you got to be here 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks to everyone who supports the show. If you're a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, or you Super Chat to be part of the show, or even Super Chat so other people are part of the show. And of course, thank you to the people sharing your opinions today. Mr. Noob, Eris, Corbinek, Pabno, Pedgeman, Trent Sims, Old Boy. We got Little Dead Fly, Jesus, Kano, Christopher B, Bell, Toads, Aiden. Because as usual, you guys are the crew. The coffee crew that makes the show every day. So as usual, my coffee crew, keep brewing those coffees, and we will keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.